I am here today with Nick Palmer. He is 31 years old and a recovering alcoholic. And his 20s were a blur of alcoholism. And he's on a healing journey now and decided he wanted to come in and share his story and hopefully inspire someone else to get sober. So welcome to the show, Nick.
Thanks. It's an honor to be here.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for coming in, man. Yeah, you really take your healing to the next level when you can share with others and help somebody else heal.
There's so many people that just stay hidden, and I felt like it's always been like impossible to share what you've been through because there's always someone that has something so much worse. But all of us have different scenarios in life where like they've hurt us more extravagant than the others. What might have been bad for me might not be anything to someone else, you know what I mean? But at the time it still hurt me, whether they can compare or not. But I just hoping to share my story a little bit and help someone.
Yeah, everybody always, like they preface their comment to me like, mine was nothing like yours, but everybody's mountain is their mountain.
Oh yeah.
So your mountain was your mountain. And like
Hmm.
you said, maybe your life in somebody else's body wouldn't have bothered them.
Right.
But for you, it was
Highway to hell.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
hell.
and you didn't handle things well, and you turned to alcohol to cope with stuff. So let's start off like in your earlier days. Where were you born and where were you raised?
Livingston. I moved to Blairstown when I
Just so
was
people know, that's New
4.
Jersey.
Yeah, Livingston, New Jersey. Yeah, I moved to Blairstown when I was about 4. My younger brother, he was 2. It was just us living in a beautiful house in Blairstown, and just my parents, just me, my mom, my dad, and my younger brother at the time. It was pretty awesome.
People don't know that that's the town next to where I grew up, Stillwater. So it's really
Right.
rural. You do a lot of outdoor activities.
Oh
What'd you
yeah.
do growing up?
Well, I wasn't quite into like hunting or fishing yet because we were so young, but now getting older, like once I was 17, 18, my father and we got really big into hunting and fishing, outdoor stuff. And when we were kids, my one brother at the time, Scott, he was big into football, sports, baseball, all that stuff, and I was a bit of a band nerd, which was awesome, but I got a lot of championships out of North Warren, which is cool for me.
What instrument?
I played saxophone just about since I think in the second grade I was in the all-star band at Blairstown Elementary School, and I played saxophone all the way up to my senior year in high school, and it was pretty cool. I was in the marching band for I think the 5 years that I was in high school, and I got 4 state championships out of 5 the whole time I was in there, which was pretty cool because none of the other sports had ever done that. So I don't know, it was pretty cool for me. You know what I mean? I got my varsity jacket when I was a freshman, and varsity letter patched in, all that stuff when I was a freshman, which was cool. It's very early to get something like that.
I opened up with you struggle with alcoholism all throughout your 20s, and people are waiting for the boom of, gee, well, let's hear his trauma. Let's hear his trauma.
Yeah,
And
what
and,
happened?
and what I thought was interesting with you, like every story is different. And you said you didn't have like the typical trauma that, like child abuse or neglect or whatever.
No, not at all. No, my parents, they're absolutely amazing. My home life, my family life, absolutely incredible. It's to die for. Literally, there's so many people that wish that they could have what I have, and I'm blessed to have it.
It just goes to show addiction can grab anyone at any time.
When you least expect it, yeah, it's like a reaper. You never know when it's gonna come, and it sucks. But I think I remember when I first started drinking. It was definitely when I was 15. I had lost my grandmother due to breast cancer, and it was my mother's mom, and she was one of the best people that I've ever met on this earth. And if knowing what I won't know now, I would have rather her had another many years in life than me just existing. You know what I mean? Because I was so young. I don't really think I knew how good of a thing I had in front of me before it was gone. And then once it was gone, I just kind of went like down the deep hole. You know what I mean? I went through a giant rebellious phase. I, I was smoking, chewing. I was doing other stuff behind my parents' back and stuff like that. I definitely started drinking. It was the summer of my freshman year. I In Blairstown, my neighbor, he wasn't my neighbor at the time. It was abandoned house, and I remember it was right around Fourth of July weekend, and me and one of my buddies and these two girls, we went to the abandoned house right next to mine, and I filled up I think it was a Scooby Doo backpack full of beer, and I know I had the Gold Slick vodka, and I just had a bunch of random crap, and we just went over there and got hammered, and we were 15. I don't remember the outcome of it really. I know we woke up the next morning feeling like shit, pretty much, but that was really once I had that feeling, it was kind of like, nothing made me upset at that moment. Like nothing made me upset. I was so drunk and my mind was just in a million places. It's kind of like nothing phased me when I was hammered, and it was awesome. It was such a good feeling. It's like, you know what? Something bad could happen really right now, and I wouldn't even care about it. You know what I mean? Like,
If you got drunk.
yeah, if I was
Right.
drunk, it'd just be like, yeah, whatever. I'll pawn it off to the next morning, something like that, or I'll deal with it later. But there was never any dealing with it later. I just stuck whatever the hell was negative. I just stuck inside my head, and it was just constant fuel for the fire. I mean, I never really had to. It For me naturally, just negative stuff just happened, and for the most part, I did it on my own because I never really was like a big go getter. You know what I mean? I was kind of like I didn't have many friends in high school. I know that. The friends I did have were obviously the wrong crowd. Um, I know I was trying one of those guys that just tried to fit in, and I remember I hung out with a bunch of skateboard guys, and I have no idea how to skateboard. I didn't even know how to skateboard at the time. I just bought one and started wearing a bunch of DC and Etnies stuff and whatever. And then I started smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, and the rebellious phase kept getting bigger. But that was really just me trying to fit in. Once like everyone in high school, once they realized like I totally don't fit in, I'm just being a follower. It kind of like got worse. Like they were trying to kick me out of what I was trying to be like. You know what I mean? So I just kind of started to hang out to myself, and the bullying started, and I was probably 5 foot and fat. I mean, I had man boobs, all that crap. I was so fat, and everyone will tell you that has known me for my length of life that I'm really a good kid, and I'll do just about anything for anybody, even if the walls are closing down on me. And it's the truth. I mean, I've done more for people than I've done for myself, and it's definitely bit me in the ass a few times because I could have had a better life. If one of my biggest regrets about drinking and whatnot was I wish I stopped sooner. I wish I knew that there was a plan. I wish I knew like there was a thought that I could enter and just stop immediately before it got too late. And by like yeah, 16, 17, I was just drinking every day before school. I would slip it every now and then. I couldn't blame anybody except for myself. My parents were older. They drink. There's alcohol around the house, but they didn't think about me, which was great.
Just for parents out there with younger kids, where does a 15, 16, 17-year-old get alcohol?
When I really started drinking and stuff like that, I tried the vodka trick where it's like because water's it just looks like vodka, you know what I mean? So I would probably fill up like a soda can or something like that, fill of whatever the hell it was, and then I'd add water right to the top of their bottles. And I thought that they would never know, but as the times go by, they look for a cocktail or something on Friday, and their thing's just water. They're kind of pissed, so they're like, "Where the hell did that go?" So whatever. I never got caught, but they did get very smart. My parents started to put like a little Sharpie marker on the bottom of the bottle and whatnot, and they caught me a few times, but it was never. They never yelled at me or anything like that. They tried getting smarter with hiding it, which was cool. Like my dad bought a kegerator, which was awesome. I was happy as hell. I love beer. I was so happy, and there were times where me and my brother we were hanging out downstairs and stuff, and we'd just be playing cards, like young kids do and stuff like that, or Nintendo or whatever. And I remember this game called Drunk Driver, and it was Super Smash Bros. And you just drive around playing Mario Kart and stuff, and you got to finish a six pack before the race ends. But me and my brother, we didn't have bottles or cans or anything, so we were just filling up pitchers. And when we ran out of pitchers, we had flower vases filled with beer and stuff. Oh, it was incredible. But my dad caught on very quick because there's no way he was drinking a full keg in a week or two. No way. So he got a lock on that, lock on everything. But yeah, that was it. As I got older, I definitely had people that were able to get it for me, but I tried not to make it every weekend. I tried to, like, space it out. Like, even after I turned 21, like going to the same liquor store every single time, it's kind of like a red flag because they see you every day. For me, it got to the point in my town of Blairstown, I didn't even have to really walk in and order anything. They kind of just had it behind the counter when I was walking in. Like, they'd see me and my stuff would just be magically right in front of me.
And what would your stuff be? What was your drink?
It was always vodka.
Vodka?
It was always vodka, raspberry. My mom, she liked cherry vodka at the time, I believe. So we kind of dipped in her cherry vodka, which was cool for me. But yeah, vodka was definitely the killer. I tried to be like less noticeable about it too. So I remember when I first started to buy just vodka for myself, just plain old vodka, I would get a big gallon. And then I would get like two or three little pints, right? So they're like you could put them in your pocket. So I would have 1 gallon that I'd buy on Monday, and then I would have the 3 pints. I'd finish off the 3 pints, and then I just fill up the pints with the vodka, so I could put them in my pocket. No one would ever know. I was drinking probably 2 to 3 pints a day, and on my way to work on the next day, I would start off with a pint, and then at the end of the day, I would probably have to go get close to another gallon again. So it was pretty bad.
Are you ever saying to yourself like this is getting a bit much when early on in it?
It
Or
was
are you like,
insanity.
yeah, you were.
No, it was definitely getting crazy because I was losing my mind. And like I said, I would have a couple of empty pints, and it would just get to the point where underneath my truck seats, I had stuff that I didn't even know. Like I would go and buy a brand new bottle of Smirnoff or Absolute or something like that, and I would still have another full one underneath my seat. So it was getting to the point I had to go to the liquor store every single day, no doubt about it. Whether it was buying beer was definitely that kind of came rare for my parents to see because every time I bought beer, I would buy like a giant 30 pack and I would just leave it in my truck and I would bring the vodka and stuff inside because that was always quicker. So when I woke up in the mornings, I can start my day off with like a White Claw or Trulies or whatever the hell those things are. I could. Bud Light was the killer.
From what I'm hearing, I probably know the answer already, but are you a social drinker or are you an isolated drinker?
At the time, I could go to like a family occasion and stuff like that, and I wouldn't get hammered. I would just feel loose, comfortable. And for me, that was a lot. It's I like being. What's the best way to say it? Yeah, I was just tipsy, but I was like I could control myself. So I would always have like little shooters and stuff in my pockets. I'd sit in the bathroom for a half hour at a party or something like that, just drain them by myself, and then yeah, back out to the party. Whatever.
And you're keeping like a half a 30 pack in your truck or
Yeah,
so like you're starting off your mornings like
drinking. Yeah,
by having a drink on
yeah.
your way to work.
It was pretty bad when I started to realize because I'd be so hammered before I'd go to bed. I would have to make my morning drinks that night because I didn't have the shakes. So I would have to make my drinks, whenever right before I went to bed and stuff like that, and just hide them. And then the next morning I would wake up and it'd be ready to go. Just add a little ice and I'm good.
Because you're
And
shaking so
I was
bad.
shaking. So, dude, I smoked at the time. I couldn't even hold a lighter. I couldn't do any of that. Nothing. It was crazy. And I still get them every now and then, but they're definitely not as bad. And I remember what it used to be like, and it was just I couldn't sit still. It was horrible. If I had no alcohol in my system, I was an asshole. That's for sure. I was definitely rude to everybody, and I wanted to be alone. And if I couldn't go and get what I needed, I don't look at me, don't talk to me, that type of thing. I'm miserable. Just leave me alone until I get what I need. That type of thing.
Are you sabotaging like holidays, with the family, being all
Uh,
bummed? Like that's like the MO. Like I've done that myself.
there's been a lot of special occasions that I've just been all tuned up for, and it was never good because I felt like I was on a timer. And when everyone's looking at me, everything's going great and stuff like that, and everyone's just looking like out for me, like when the hell's something gonna happen, you know? And eventually, it always did. It could be like the stupidest little argument that'll just set me going off. I want to leave the house and stuff. It could be snowing and Christmas outside. I'll just want to leave. But I was always the one. Every family's got a family disappointment, I guess you can say. That was me, man. No doubt about it. And people have black sheep families and black wolves. I'm definitely the black wolf. There's no doubt about it.
Now, is this causing a lot of friction with you and your
Oh,
parents?
hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, my parents didn't deserve anything that I've done throughout my addiction. They did not do a single thing. My parents are amazing. Anyone would be lucky to have a family like mine. But I didn't know how good I had it because I was so messed up in my head. And I didn't really ever have a way to like let it out either. That's why I just held everything in and I just drank. And when I did like start arguments and fights and stuff, that's when I really lashed out. I said shit that I didn't mean. I know that for a fact. Like I don't even know. I know for a fact I told my one brother I wish he was never my brother. I wish I never knew him. Other stuff like that, and none of them did anything to me. No doubt about it. Like no one did anything wrong towards me. I was just hateful of everyone and everything because of shit that was going on in my head. I couldn't control it, and it was horrible. But I still struggle with some of that stuff today. But it's not. I have better coping mechanisms now, and I don't let little shit bother me because that was a big pain in the ass for me in the last year.
So many of the people I've had in, like, you know, it's one drug for this person, alcohol for that, but it's like they have it, and like I had this Episcopalian minister in here, and he's like, when I drank, it was like the angels were singing. He's like, it just took all my problems away. And like you said that earlier, like, as soon as I drank,
Mm.
nothing bothered me.
I was smiling like crazy. There was nothing that could go wrong until I come down from that.
Right.
But
Then your mind says, why should we come down from this? Like, let's just keep
constant
the
drinking,
right.
yeah.
And that's how it just creeps in, right?
I remember, like I said, because vodka looks exactly like water. That was so easy to hide. It was so easy to hide, but the thing is, it's hard to be around someone who knows like the smell of it and whatnot. So there is really no hiding it.
People would know. People would say
Yeah,
you
immediately.
reek.
If I wasn't, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I worked for a cop one time actually doing landscaping, and I remember he picked me up at my house, and I got in his truck, and he's like, "Yo, dude, where'd you just come from?" I was like, "My room." Why? He's like, "You smell like a winery." I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't even like wine, but all right, thanks, man." And yeah, that was rough. I worked for another guy too, which was probably like the best business I think I ever worked for. I ended up losing my license. I got a DUI in 2016, and
How old were you then when you got your DUI?
23 maybe, somewhere around there. But yeah, I lost my license, and I had met this guy, and he was a landscaper in town, just him, his wife, and he didn't have any kids at the time. And when I met him, he didn't have any help, so he took me on right away. I got a great recommendation because I've worked for almost every freaking landscaper in Blairstown. So I got a great recommendation that I know my stuff and whatnot. And he drove me. Once I lost my license, he drove me around the whole year I didn't have my license with the breathalyzer. He picked me up if I was still drinking and I couldn't drive my truck, he would pick me up. He was the best. That was one of the best jobs I think I've ever had in my life. And I was with that man for 7, almost 8 years, I think. So he was awesome. His family became my family, and I was there when both of his kids were born. It was incredible, but I screwed it up because I couldn't stop drinking.
In quick passing there, you mentioned a breathalyzer.
Yeah,
So when you get a DUI, do they make you install a auto lock?
they do it, and it sucks. I lost my license, I believe, for it was 9 months, and I had to have the breathalyzer. No, I'm sorry, I lost my license for a year. Breathalyzer was 9 months, and I had to. having no license sucked because I couldn't even drive. Like I couldn't do anything, not even try to get away with it. But with the breathalyzer, I had to get it recalibrated every 2 months or every 3 months or something like that, and it was 180 bucks every single time. Doesn't really sound like a lot, but when you have an alcohol addiction, that's a lot of freaking beer money. And yeah, it was
Did
every.
you ever fail
Oh
trying to?
yeah, oh my god, yeah, oh yeah.
Does it send a report that you
No, it all it's
or it
at the
just won't start?
at the time. Yeah, no, it won't start. It makes a loud freaking noise, and it's definitely loud. There's it was like a box, and it was a pretty big box. You had to like do a deep inhale, and then a big outhale, ooh, exhale, sorry, and then a big inhale, and it was pretty crazy. And if you weren't on the dot, then it was going off. Your car wouldn't start, or truck wouldn't start, whatever it was. And it was every time you get that recalibrated. I went to a place in Newton, and every time I got it calibrated, they could write down how many times I tried to drive, but I was hammered. So it was pretty crazy. The first report I remember them giving me was, damn, I tried a lot. And then as the time went by, I'm like, you know what? It's so much easier just not to drive. And I mean, yeah, I'd probably saved my life and someone else's too, definitely.
Do you remember what you blew when you got your DUI?
I
How
think it
high?
was a point. I think it was a point three. It's like a 0.38. I think it was. It was right below four. I know that because four is like you got some mental. You're gonna die pretty much, and it was right before that. And the DUI actually, it's a pretty stupid story, but it still sucked. I ended up getting a DUI right 5 feet, 10 feet away from my driveway, right in my mailbox, pretty much. And we were having a party over the summer, my family and I, and I was drunk. I was walking around in you know Confederate flag boxers and stuff like that. I was just freaking hammered. It was Fourth of July, and I was sitting in my truck, and I was going through a breakup at the time, so I was just on a mission just to get hammered all day. So I was sitting in my truck, and I remember I was drinking a bottle of Jim Beam, and I was smoking a cigar at the time. And my dad, he came outside and he said, "Nick, you better not go anywhere." I said, "All right, why?" He's like, "Because your mother's gonna call the cops if you start that truck." I said, "All right, so go for it. What are they gonna do?" So sure as shit, I started my truck and I kept drinking and I went right out of my driveway, got maybe 4 or 5 houses down, and I passed two Blairstown cops. I live on a dead end, so I knew where they were going. So I passed them and I just think, oh shit, here we go. So I did a little K turn and I was maybe 10 feet from my mailbox and they blocked the whole road off, gave me the DUI, the whole breathalyzer, all that and stuff. The walking, I just said, screw it. Like, I'm drunk. Just don't even worry about any of this crap. So yeah, 0.38, I believe it was. Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky I got caught, but I kind of didn't care if I got caught or not, which was horrible. But I I don't know. It saved my life, even though I didn't really care about it that much. But I'm thankful I didn't hurt anybody else because that would have really torn my head apart. That would just I would have no reason to keep breathing. That would have ruined me. And yeah, so I just after that, like I said, I got the DUI, no license, breathalyzer. That was horrible.
Are you ever getting help in your 20s? Are you ever doing substance abuse centers,
Uh,
rehabs?
yeah, I've been to a couple rehabs. Yeah, I've been to a couple rehabs. It's crazy. A couple times I went, I was obviously I was so new and I just wanted to do it so everyone would just get off my ass about it. So I went to a bunch, probably 4 or 5, just like 30-day rehabs. I'd go in for 28 days with the 7-day detox, and then by day 35 I'm out. I'm free. I'm like cured. You know what I mean? I'll never drink again. I'm cured, and that never worked out.
Right.
So I
And you're not going in for yourself. You're going in for your
yeah,
family. Or
yeah, pretty much if yeah, there was no going in for myself. I didn't give a damn. I just wanted to make sure I still had my house, my vehicle, and all my stuff, my family together and whatnot. So I would go in just to humor them, and maybe after the 35 days, maybe I had like a week or two after that, just to try it. But no, it never worked. The slightest inconvenience would just make me have a beer.
why do you think you fell back into it so easily after like getting yourself dry and
It
trying to get
was
clear-headed for a moment there?
it was just an easy way out. Like I had said earlier, like when I was drinking, I really didn't care. And if I did care about something, that made me drink more. So it's other than shooting it in my veins or something like that, that's the most hardest way I could have ever done with alcohol. It was the most detrimental thing I could do. There was no one that could stop me. No one. If I don't care if I had zero money, I used to steal money from my parents. My mom would leave her purse laying around and I would take it, and the next day she'd be like, "Hey, I lost 20 bucks in here." I have no idea what she's talking about. I blame my brothers or something, whatever. My dad, he would always leave. My dad was a hard ass worker. He would always leave cash in his pockets after work. And we were kids, taught not to steal. Bullshit. I would go right into his pocket and steal as much cash as he had, and boom, I was set for the next day. But I never came clean about that till actually just now. But I'm pretty sure he knew about that the whole time because, no one else in my family would ever do something so bad like that. And it sucks it had to be me.
I mean, and I'm not asking you to name anybody, but is there any history of alcoholism in your family, like going back even generations, like
Um,
either side?
My grandfather, who I'm named after, my dad's dad, he died from liver failure and cirrhosis, and this time when I went into rehab last March 2024, I was just about with cirrhosis of the liver. I was on my way, and that's what scared the shit out of me this time, to be honest. And yeah, my grandfather, he had passed away, and my middle name is Robert after my dad's dad, and he was a big drinker. On my dad's side, my sponsor, he's my blood cousin Joe, and I believe he just celebrated 7 years sobriety, and he's been with me since I first started, like when I was 15. Even when I was at those 28-day rehabs, I would call him, talk to him. I When I'm not doing it, when I am just drinking and stuff like that, I'd call him, talk to him. He was always there for me. There was never a moment when he would not be there for me, and that's why like they say in like people's groups and stuff like that, like do what makes you sober, do what'll help you stay sober. People are always say like go meet someone new, you know what I mean, hear their side of the story, and that's great, but I need someone that knew what the hell was going wrong for me even when I didn't say it. So my cousin, he's a he's he's a giant part of my life. I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if I didn't have his voice, because I wouldn't even be here. It's crazy. He he's talked me out of some wild stuff. And when I was in my addiction, I never really bothered him as much. You know what I mean? He would always bother me because he knew I was all messed up. And now I call him every single Friday usually, and we talk for maybe an hour or two going home. I live in Phillipsburg, and we talk for like an hour on my way home. Then on my way back to my sober house, I would talk to him for about another hour, just checking in. And I didn't I had that, but I was so mentally unstable that I didn't use it. And yeah, he saves my life every single day, and without him I know I'd be a mess. I Like I said, he's had some alcohol related issues. um my mom's side, not really. I mean, my mom's side really liked the party, but they weren't ever like, waking up to mimosas every morning or something like that. They weren't ever like crazy. And unless they were and I just couldn't notice, but I wasn't really thinking about it at those years, so no, I think my mom's side was usually pretty good. But
Now, after these rehabs, are you continuing on AA when you get out for any length of time, and then just like are you getting drunk even while you're going to AA?
yeah, it's actually pretty crazy. Once I got out and I was, going for 1 or 2 weeks sobriety, doing well and whatnot. No one knew that after I got done with work, I would hit like a 6 or 6:30 o'clock meeting, but I would hit the liquor store before that meeting, and I would drink the 6 pack, and then go into the meeting, sit there for an hour, and I get back in my truck, stop and get another 6 pack, and then boom, I'm going home. So that was that was very stupid of me, no doubt about it. But I lied to a lot of people as well. Too, I told people like, yeah, I'm clean today. Today's a good day, whatnot. But they have no idea. I just had two freaking Bloody Marys on my way to work. They have no idea. So lying was probably my biggest downfall, because I said everything to possibly make everyone else happy, even though I was miserable. And for me, it was kind of like if everyone's happy, everyone's smiling, nothing's going on, I don't have to fix anything, then everything's perfect. You know what I mean? So why you don't fix what's not broken? So
So throughout your 20s, how many rehabs would you say you went to?
5 or 6 maybe. I know I went to I know I went to New Hope. I went to the Sunrise House in Lafayette. That was my first one when I was 16 or 17, I believe, right in high school. Yeah, I was arrested in high school as well.
What were you arrested for?
I was still trying to like fit in with the drugged kids and bad crowd and whatnot. So I remember I took a bottle off my dad's shelf for all of his medicine and stuff, and I just looked at it. I didn't know what the hell it was. It was a prescription, so I just took it. And I remember I went to school. I just kept seeing a bunch of guys that would like they'd you can catch that kind of crowd. So I'd be like, here, you want this stuff? And yeah, sure. I got like 20 bucks a pill or something like that. But then I got caught because some kid tried taking it and then he wasn't able to take it and he got caught and asked where he got it from and there I was. So I got arrested. I believe that was my sophomore year in high school. I was arrested and I was in lunch. Two state troopers came in with handcuffs, handcuffed me, took me out. I went back to the car, back to the police station, state trooper barracks, and Hope. And yeah, that was my first arrest.
And what they charge you with?
Prescription medicine on school grounds or without a prescription or something like
Prescription?
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't mine. I know that. I admitted to everything. I was just being a young idiot, but it didn't really help because the bullying and stuff in high school wasn't mainly just the kids. It was I had a horrible vice principal, and he every single chance he had, I was in trouble. I was in his office. I could just be walking by. It was horrible. I'm definitely not going to mention his name, but we all know who the hell I'm talking about. Yeah, he made my life a living hell a lot in high school. I was getting in trouble for stuff that I couldn't even uh, stuff that had nothing to do with me, and it was ridiculous. And he just kind of he made it extremely hard for me. We had a At the time we had a principal too, or he might have been a superintendent, whatever. But he actually was wanted in Canada, I believe, for child molestation. And Dr. Fogelson was his name, but we all know that now because he was in the news and whatnot. But he was also there for me too when I was going through so much crap, and he gave me 10 times more crap that I was dealing with. And so once I got arrested, they took me out of North Warren, and my family fought like hell just so I can come back the following year, which would be my junior or senior year, to finish out the marching band. But they ended up kicking me out of school, about a half a year of school, and I had to go to this juvenile detention center, which was in Tewksbury, and I was there from I believe February till June, late June or whatever, when school ended, and it was horrible. It was just freaking horrible. I'm a little country guy from Warren County. I didn't belong in some juvenile detention school like that just for drugs and stuff. I've never been a big fighter, so whatever. I sat there and I did my time, and it sucked. I got straight A's though because I actually had no choice but to pay attention.
Are you living at that facility too?
No, no, I had a minivan that picked me up every morning.
Oh,
It was
yeah?
pretty crazy. Yeah, it was a small white minivan that said Tewksbury JD something, whatever, Juvenile Detention Center, JDC, I think that's what it said. And yeah, it would pick me up about an hour earlier than I would go to North Warren, and then I'd get dropped off like an hour earlier than North Warren. It was whatever. It is what it is. I was just by myself, and it was horrible. I was with a lot of kids that did some serious shit, and I think I was just so young, and I thought I was so badass because I was selling my dad's heart medication, which I wasn't. It was just making me a fool. But some of those other people, they had it so much worse than me, and it really opened my eyes. Unfortunately, not far enough. And some of the shit that I had to see there as a young kid, it wasn't very good. I like there were gangs and rivals, and it wasn't the coolest, and like the segregation, like blacks and whites and stuff like that. We all had our own sections of classrooms and stuff like that, which was pretty shitty. And I had never witnessed that in my life, so being young and seeing that is kind of like, all right, this world's fucked up. I learned my lesson a little bit, so I stopped doing that stupid crap. And then I came back my senior year, and we were in high school band and stuff like that. We won the state championships, and I was like, cool, get me the hell out of this school. I'm done.
And you're off to the races for your 20s.
Oh yeah,
So
I'm
so
waiting.
so you mentioned a little just before you're in a sober living house. How did your last rehab finally take hold? Like, and when did you get sober?
My sober date is March 16th. That has nothing to do with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, it is pretty cool, but I didn't plan that out. Um, I got sober. It was my
Of this year or 24?
2024.
Okay, so
2024.
you
Yeah,
got over a year and a half under your belt.
I got 18 months and a couple days, something like that. But
Why'd you take this one serious?
oh, so it was my 30th birthday last year in 2024 on February 17th, and it's usually a pretty big birthday, 30s. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go get more drunk than ever. And I reached out to a bunch of my friends. Cocaine fell into my lap. Uh, Smoked a shit ton of pot that day. I know that. Those like drugs have never really been a big issue for me, but I would never not say no to cocaine, especially. It's a lot of fun. Cocaine, women, and alcohol was a really bad combination, but it was great at the same time. So I just remember for my 30th, I woke up that morning and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to the liquor store as soon as it opens at 9 o'clock, and I'm just gonna start drinking now. So that's exactly what I did. I started drinking, and I called a bunch of buddies for some powder stuff that they dropped by for me, and I was just on a mission, and I was hammered all day, and it's in February, so it's cold as hell outside, and I just remember sitting in my living room with my sister, both my brother's girlfriends at the time, my mom and dad. For my birthday, they all like playing card games and stuff like that, like board games and whatnot. I said, okay, yeah, no problem. So there I am, just all fucked up, and we're trying to play this game Headbands. It's where you stick these things on, and you have to guess what the hell you are, and I don't know, I couldn't even see straight. So we were just playing. All of a sudden, I took off my shirt, and my whole body was like as white. It was as pale as this table. It was. I couldn't really do anything about it. I was just sitting there, and I was white, and I was just staring, and sweat started like coming down my head, down my back. My hands were all sweaty and stuff, and it was just ridiculous. My dad and mom, they looked at me like, "What the hell's going on with you?" I said, I need to go lay down or something because I'm sweating, and it's freezing outside." So I went in my room. Immediately, I took 2 or 3 swigs of my raspberry Smirnoff, thinking that would help. It didn't, and I just laid down, and I probably laid down for about a half hour, and then I just got back up thinking I was okay. And I went back out, and I'm just sitting there. I can't move. I can't do anything. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. So I was just sitting there. They were playing the game, and I'm pretty sure after that, my father had just told me to go to bed, and I went to bed very early on my birthday that day. And the next morning, my dad took me to urgent care in Blairstown. Took me to urgent care, and the nurses were asking, what's wrong with me, and I said honestly, I got extremely shit faced yesterday for my birthday, and I don't know what's wrong with me. So they could tell right away I was dehydrated, like no other. So they stuck me on this hydration pill. I don't even know what it was called, but they did that, and then when I got home, all of my family was there. All brother, sister, mom, dad, everyone was there. They're like, Nick, this isn't really an ultimatum. It's kind of like what you want to do with like the rest of your life. If you go get help, then we're still going to be here for you, obviously. But if you don't get help, you can't be here. Like, we don't want anything to do with you until you're okay. And that hurt a lot because I knew how deep I was into my addiction. I knew how hard it was going to be right away. And I had the worst nightmares. That being sober, I had the worst nightmares. And it was just, I just hope no one that enters my life has to go through that same type of mental shit that I went through, because it was kind of traumatizing thinking like I could lose my family just because I'm drinking, and that it my family is without my family I'm nothing. I tell them that all the time, and if I if I didn't have them, honestly, I wouldn't even be here. I wouldn't have even given it a shot. I would have been gone somewhere. I probably would have been dead by now. There's no doubt about it. I would have. I don't think I would have drank myself to death, but I think I would have drank myself to the point where I think I could just load a pistol and shoot myself in the head. There's no doubt about it. And as I started to get sober, like in my early sobriety, I realized like that started making me, I got more aware of like what the hell's going on and stuff. And I started to tell my parents stuff that I've never told them before, like stuff that I would do in their house when I was drunk and stuff like that. And I told both of them. We were going to vote last year, and they picked me up from my halfway house and they told me I was going to vote with them. And I told them on my way home, I was like, "You guys don't know half the shit that I did when you guys were home." And they said that they don't want to know, but I just kept rambling. I was like, "Mom, like your bedroom was right next to mine, and I can't tell you how many nights I sat on my floor with a bottle of Smirnoff in my one hand, and I had a pistol in my other." And she's like, "Where'd you get the pistol?" I said, "Mom, that's not even the worst part of the problem. The fact that I had one and I was going through that much head trauma, I just wanted to end it. I felt like I'd be doing everyone else a favor if I wasn't here." Because I mean, even to this day, I know I'm not perfect, but I know I cause problems and stuff, but at least I'm here. And that shit kills me because I tell them all the time, I couldn't have been here right now if it wasn't for them.
So this time you took it serious, and then instead of doing 28 days and getting out,
Yeah.
and
I
now you're in a sober living house.
Yeah. I took this one seriously. I went all the way to Atlantic City. My father dropped me off, and I was there for 28 days plus the 7-day detox, which was awesome. I'm like, all right, this is cool. I'm far away from everybody. Awesome. And as soon as like the 34th day came, I called my mother and dad, and I said, "Hey, you guys coming to get me tomorrow?" And they're like, "No, why?" My 35 days is up here, and he's like, "No, Nicholas, no, you're going somewhere where you need to go." I said, "All right, well, where the hell are we going?" So they said that they want me to go to long term and of my choice. I said, "Okay, no problem." The only long term program that they had was a 4 to 6 month program in Patterson. And I don't really have to explain Patterson very much because most of us know that it's kind of horrible. So I went there. I went there. It was right before like Easter in April, and I was there from then till September, August, September. Yep, I was there till September. The whole summer, I was there. It was, it was. I wish I could get some of the things that I've seen out of my mind, and it's unfortunate that I will never have that luxury. But some of the shit that I saw, I know for a fact it would make anyone crumble. I had to. I had told you earlier, I've never been a fighter. I don't want to struck. Like, I don't like putting other people in pain. That's not who I am at all. But I had to learn to defend myself in ways that I never really thought I'd even have to without weapons. It's that rehab was probably the worst rehab I've ever heard of, and I'll say that until it's gone from this world because I that, I've been to a bunch of rehabs. That was the first one that I've ever been in where I can still get drugs. And I had met, luckily for me,
But you didn't.
oh, I didn't. No. But I know for a fact if I could, as soon as I got there, I started working in the kitchen. I got real good friends with like the guys that were making the food and stuff because they're cooking your food. You don't want to badmouth them or anything. You don't want them on your bad side. But yeah, right across the street from where we were making food, we could have just opened the door and walked right into a liquor store right across the street. It was nothing.
And then now, how long have you been in the sober living house, and how long do you plan on being there?
I'm comfortable, but I'm not comfortable because I've spent so long like being under someone's jurisdiction where it's kind of like I'm gonna be 32. I can do my own shit now. I know not to drink. I go to meetings religiously. My home group in Stewartsville on Wednesdays and Sundays, they're absolutely phenomenal. Those new people that I met in my life, they become family to me. And I do like the sober house, but it's like I've been there for long enough to the point where I know what I have to do to keep myself sober every day. And, signing in and out of a log box every day saying where I'm going and whatnot, I don't really feel the need to tell people that anymore. So I don't know. I do like being in the sober house because it does have a little edge on me, knowing in the back of my mind that I can't screw up or I can't have this. But I have so many great things going for me right now. I work. I have a hell of a job right now. Has its days, of course. I'm in the process of getting my CDL. And I'm hoping to make something more of a higher career with that. And I never thought it would come to this, but I've talked to my mom and dad, and they said, Nicholas, like if you need us, you're more than welcome to come here, and you know it, you're our son. They're not going to abandon me like that, and that hit hard, and it was pretty cool. But I as of like my other brothers and my sister and stuff like that, my brothers are awesome. My I couldn't be more proud than any of my siblings. My brother, he's a police officer. My other brother, he's a Marine. And my little sister, I don't really know what she is, but she's in Yukon and she's smart as all hell. So whatever she's doing is incredible because I know for a fact none of us could have done it. But she's a genius, and my brothers are both men, so we like when we pissed each other off and stuff in the past, like we just kind of get over it, and time goes on. For my sister, it's a lot different because for 15 years of her life, and she's 20 now, for 15 years of her life, I wasn't even there. And it hit me real hard when she told me that. And I don't know, like a little bit ago, she had texted me when our whole family was in some stupid argument. I don't even know what it was about, but my sister had told me because I was trying to talk to her to get her, comfortable, and she had said, "I've been gone for 15 years of her life. Why would I show any? Why would I show any,
Interest now.
interest now? Like, why would I even try?" And that killed me. That absolutely killed me seeing that. And I still have that text message, and I'm never gonna delete it. I actually printed it out, and it's in my sober house on my room. It's just a constant reminder to fight. And I remember this one other special moment that I had in my sobriety was my 1 year coin. And I had gotten that in Greenwich for my 1 year, and my whole family came, which I didn't expect, which was awesome, but I just didn't expect it. And they all came, and I told everyone a little story. Of course, I said thank you to everyone that's helped me and stuff like that. And I told them a little story about my sister and my mother, of course. And I was home. I came home for the holidays around like right before Christmas time, and I was just there, being in the sober house and stuff. I was able to like come and go when I please. Holidays are awesome, and I just remember being there, and I was sitting there watching TV or something. And I heard my mom talking to one of her friends on the phone, and they were talking about my little sister. And my mother says, "Yeah, Lauren just got done writing a paper about who is her greatest like inspiration. Who uh who does she look up to? Like who's her hero, I guess you could say." And I wasn't supposed to hear it, but she said me.
Awesome.
And yeah, I didn't deserve that. And that was one of the coolest things I've ever heard in my life. And
If you could have the last word on what this whole process of being an alcoholic, overcoming it, what would you want to share with the audience? What's your final words on this?
don't wait. Don't wait. If you know you have a problem, you know you have a problem before anyone else even sees it. So I just wouldn't wait. One of my biggest regrets is not doing this sooner. I missed out on so much time, so many memories that I missed out on. It's not worth it. You can't beat alcohol, man. It's you can't. It's out there. It's legal. It's out there. It'll kick your ass as much as it has to. You can't beat it. But you know what? You can overcome it. Pick up the phone. That's one thing I learned. I used to hate talking to people. Now I have a whole list full of phone of people that I don't even know, and some of them are with us and some are not. But I still have it just in case if you never know. And it's definitely been one hell of a ride. But I got to tell you, my life right now has never been more perfect, ever. And I mean, if I could do it, there's plenty of other people that could out there do it too. Just speak, just talk. This is the first time I've ever told anyone some dark stuff that has happened in my past, and it feels damn good. It feels great. I've never done this. Like I told you, like in the meetings and stuff, I don't talk. I just listen. It's great. I go to meetings religiously. All my friends that I used to have, I got rid of just about all of them. You know, ones that got help like I did, I keep them around. But most of my friends now, most of the people that I talk to, they're either going to influence me and help me, or they're just not going to be in my life whatsoever. Because I screwed up my life on my own. I don't need help.
Well, congratulations, bro, and thanks for you can't heal about something you can't talk about. So thanks for coming in and sharing your journey.
Hey Clark, can I end this with a prayer?
Yeah, have at it, brother.
Take a moment for the still sick and suffering inside and outside these rooms, followed by the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
There you heard from Nick, everybody. He wishes he had taken sobriety serious a lot earlier. If you know you have a problem, don't waste years and decades like I did and like Nick did. Get help now. Peace.